Welcome to Winning Inside, the show where we follow the journey from feeling defeated to winning. Here are your hosts, Cheddy Matthews and Michelle Wickman.
Hello, amazing people. Welcome to the Winning Inside podcast, where we discuss real issues, insights, and solutions to help you thrive in your day-to-day lives. We know life happens, and we can choose to be a spectator or a participant. Hey, folks. Today, I have the amazing opportunity to speak to somebody that I actually go to school with at UCLA Anderson, and his name is Hitesh Solanki. I'm going to go into more of that in a few moments. But Hitesh he works at Google. He's a strategic partnership consultant, and this human being is absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to tell you, when I was getting courted by UCLA, when I was thinking about going to the school, one of the first meetings we had with other prospective students, I saw Hitesh in the room, and everyone's just talking, who are you, where are you from, blah, blah, just trying to get the feel for who's who in the room, who do they work for, what are they about? So I'm watching everybody and observing the conversations as I do. And Hitesh says something and tells everyone to go to this post and listen to this podcast. And he's just making some comments where you realize this is a particular human being. This person thinks and sees the world a little different. I was intrigued from the beginning. I goes, when the school starts, I need to meet this guy. I knew it. I need to meet this guy. And he's phenomenal. And he has such charisma. And people are drawn to him in a way where his power exudes. His awesomeness, I'm just going to say it that way. Your awesomeness exudes. When you walk into a room, we know you're there. And I appreciate that, because when you speak, I shut my mouth and listen. Simple as that. I shut my mouth and listen and take notes. So without further ado, Hitesh Solanki, welcome to the Winning Inside podcast. It is great to have you here.
It is my absolute pleasure, Cheddy. I'm so happy that we are doing this. I know we've been back and forth about, just generally touching base and catching up with each other because we're in separate sections.
Yes.
But as I was telling you earlier, before we started recording this, is in life, when you're kind of going about doing your own thing and kind of sharing your own experiences and learnings, you seldom meet people that actually notice you for who you are when you're not even trying to be somebody or trying to share anything with anybody.
Yeah.
Then that's a tremendous opportunity where, wavelengths, literally, there has been enough conversation around this, is that we're all basically energy and wavelengths. And when two people kind of are on the same wavelength, it's resonating, and you kind of know that I'm seeing this. Are you with me? And people be like, oh, I'm seeing this too. It's like, hey, let's talk then.
So I'm glad it happened. And I got to tell you, you are the first person from UCLA Anderson, one of my cohort members that I've actually had the opportunity to speak with and interview on the Winning Inside podcast. And that is not by mistake. That is by design. And I'm telling you, when I first met you, I was like, you're the first one. I already knew this. I knew this months ago. I'm just going to let you know. Even though I just asked you not too long ago, I knew you were going to be one of the first ones. And it was because of the impact you had without even trying. That was the part for me. You just were just being you. And I was like, whoa, that was powerful. When you were dropping gold, I was like, I'm picking up these nuggets. Got it. I see you, sir.
I specifically remember that event, actually. And I also remember what I said that day. And I wasn't even learning or reading or any of that. I was just not prepared for that conversation. That event was supposed to be about, I don't know, you said it right. It was actually about courting new students or something like that. And I just ended up talking about something with climate, with, saving the planet. And the specific phrase I remember was, well, how do you do this? Or the question came about from the audience as to, well, how do you actually do this? And my answer to that was, well, my friend, everybody is winging it. A little bit of smile and a little bit of confidence will take you a long way through this journey. So it was about starting the MBA program or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It was pretty cool. You're a cool dude. That's beyond measure. But I want to know more about who is Hitesh. Give me some W's. Like, where are you from? Like, give me your backstory, because I just want to know what got you from where you were to where you are today. Like, what got you from, I don't even want to tell your story. I won't let you tell it. What got you from your birth, from childhood, to Google right now? You work at you work at Google.
Yeah.
So tell me how that came about. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal. So there's a story there, and I want to hear it.
For sure. Yeah. So, one of the favorite opening lines that I have, which is by this famous person, S.I. Real, is we're all products of our experiences, and there is so much truth to that. And people have extended it even further. But in that phrase, like literally, who we are is a translation of what experiences we've had since our birth, since our arrival on this planet, and how our story sort of unfolds beyond and above that. So, real quick, I am from Mumbai. I was born and raised in Mumbai. Spent about 21 years in Mumbai, India. Today I live in Pacifica, California with my beautiful and kind-hearted wife, Nan, and our little fur baby, Suki. She's a Labradoodle, and she's the absolute joy and delight of our lives right now. Come from a very tightly knit family, and my parents really didn't have much for me to kind of much for themselves. They didn't really do graduate school themselves, but they gave me and my younger sister everything they got. And
Nice.
yeah, my sister's also up here in San Francisco. We both have our masters, and we incidentally are both. She just graduated, and I'm doing my business school as well. And to take it back a little bit, since the day I decided, or the year that I decided to pursue my master's and come to the US, 9/11 hit, and the first experience of American economy was that of recession for me. And things got tighter and tougher, and many students actually went back home. But that was kind of like the first taste of grit and my test of perseverance, because money was tight from every different ways. I found innovative ways to actually find myself some source of income. So I signed up for a couple of on-campus jobs. I was doing shifts at a gas station, in between graduate school with all of this, like invented time, literally.
The hustle.
Not really. I was basically not sleeping much around those days.
I bet.
And 2.5 years of, that hustle kind of got me a master's in double E at the school.
Nice.
But then it got me the life lessons of, grit and value for time and money, and how do you provide customer service outside of your classroom, which were, I think, learnings that kind of stayed with me.
Good deal.
Since then, been through a few boom bust cycles, the 2008 recession with housing, just generally skilling and reskilling myself every 5 to 7 years. Telecommunications industry, as I was telling you earlier, starting with 2G and all the way now up to 5G and even ahead 6G. On one hand, learning how software as a service, as a cloud enablement works, learning how artificial intelligence and machine learning plays a role into our technology and our world as we kind of grow into it.
Yeah.
All kinds of tech related work. I can hold my conversations with a varying degree of detail and depth with the audience that I could talk with.
Yeah.
And then, on a personal front, I love being outdoors, camping, skiing,
working out,
and making the most of this planet and leisure time that we got on it. Many times I've been on trips and plans have gone awry, and I had to reinvent on the fly. And literally reframing. I just posted about this a little while ago. Reframing as a concept is super important in general in life. As you get mature, you realize that everything that looks like an adversity, that looks like, holy shit, what am I going to do again? Or what am I going to do here? If you reframe it, if you take that pause, reframe it, you could actually be on to the best opportunity of your lifetime in that situation.
Nice. That's adaptability. It's really cool that you do that. You do that as a practice because you're able to change with the times. Because one thing that's inevitable is things are going to change. And you're able to adjust for those changes. Like you said, you've been through boom and bust cycles. You've mentioned a few of them. You've been through a few of them because 2011, 9/11, you've had 2008. The financial crisis was terrible. And so many things changed on the other side of those events. We just went through one, a Black Swan event, i.e. COVID. And things changed on the other side of that. How do you retool? How do you repurpose? How do you get back on track? And you've done that multiple times. So what is it that made you realize that things were going to be different on the other end and I need to adjust and prepare for that new reality?
I think So a lot of this comes from taking that space, and again, I think somebody told me this, and I can't remember who the author is to credit this, but there's always a space between circumstances and your surroundings kind of changing versus reacting to those changes.
Yes.
And that space is it always exists as long as you are intentful in finding that space.
Mm-hmm.
So like before you react to something, before you react to what somebody says to you or something happens to you or to your family or to anybody else, it's very hard, but that space exists. The key is to really find that space and take your time. And then instead of reacting, you then intentfully act.
Oh my gosh.
And it's this, you read about Stoicism, you read about Buddhist meditation that we can get into, Vipassana, which I think I kind of am inspired a lot more than anything else. The more spiritual and the more spiritual you get, the more practical life becomes for you. And it's an oxymoron. It sometimes sounds very counterintuitive. It's like, what do you mean more spiritual you get? Huh? The more spiritual you get, the more tools you acquire. And maybe my notion of spirituality here is about seeing things as they are.
Yes.
It's not religious. It's not about following a guru or any of that. This is a planet. It's planet made with beings. It's organic and inorganic material, all of that, like the physics of the things and the actual science is in front of us.
Yes.
If we really start looking at things as they are, we start stripping off the meanings and the connotations and the preconceived notions that we've built over time, that we've been conditioned to be built over time.
Those paradigms, yeah.
Right? Those paradigms start to sort of space themselves out. It's almost like you're eating a bowl of noodles. And if you're like anything like me, I want to eat my noodles one string at a time. I don't know where this is coming from. And I don't know if it's a suitable analogy, but literally instead of taking a lump of noodles and just chewing on it like it was rice, I mean, it's a bowl of noodles. I want to appreciate the noodles for the way they are created and for the way they are, meant to be enjoyed. So I want to eat my noodle one string at a time. in a certain sense, life is if you have that awareness in that space of instead of reacting to something and making a big lump of a noodle in there, if you take your time, it can actually be straightened out pretty simple, and you could actually then act intentfully. So going back to that awareness part.
I wish Michelle was here right now, because if she heard you say that, she is such a proponent of taking time, making the time, slowing things down, being in the moment, being exact and precise with your decisions and actions. She'd be smiling right now, because this is something that she talks to me about, talks to us about. And it's so important to live right now, because it's the only space you can control. It's the space you occupy. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not here yet, but you can manage and deal with this right now. And a lot of times we cloud stuff by thinking about the past and the present. That is a lot of weight.
Yep.
And then the funny thing about tomorrow, it hasn't happened yet. So you're worried about it today, and you're going to have to deal with it again tomorrow. That's a lot. That's like double load for one. You're like washing clothes twice to get one wash out of them. It makes no sense. You cook the food twice to eat it once. So it's a lot of extra work that we don't need to apply. But if we can manage our time and slow things down, we can make better decisions that are more intentional, more conscious, and probably better for all parties involved. Gosh, I love that. Whew, I love that. Whew. Keep talking.
As you were saying that, like, if you really think about it, it's not our fault that we are wired this way, especially people from developing nations.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't even need to go there, right? As human beings, as an innate species, we were always about planning future for us. That's what kept us going. That's what kept us, surviving. That's why we are dominating this planet with, only 4% of other species available to kind of dwell on this planet. And we've taken over 96% of the landmass for ourselves. The issue with that, or it's not even an issue, but the ramification of that planning as a species, and as a child, you're constantly getting asked, or you're questioned, like, what do you want to be when you grow up, or what's next for you, or what are you going to do after you're done with this, or how do you plan on spending your vacation, etc., etc., etc. A lot of our projections are future based, and what that does is, for the most part, we get so accustomed or so tuned to living our lives with a plan to accomplish A or B or C, which is, again, nothing wrong with it. It's needed because that's how progress happens. That's how you go from point A to point B. What's gotten you here is not going to get you there automatically. You got to be intentful about it.
Yeah.
The one emphasis that sort of kind of doesn't get placed enough until you are much more mature in life and maybe you yourself start realizing it is, well, I know I'm going to live my life as a planner, but I'm going to live my life as well simultaneously. Yes. And I can only live my life if I take a deep breath, look around, notice the blue skies, notice that little streak of white clouds on it.
Yeah.
Actually marvel in the beauty of that. Yeah. In this moment. Marvel at the beauty of the green grass and the trees that are around me. Marvel in the beauty of the simplicity with which my dog, for example, lives her life. Yeah. She has no planning aspects in her life. She will be completely fine going wherever we are going. Like, very few means to keep you motivated for the next thing up.
Yes.
But that sort of, it's short-sighted in a way, if you were to put it that way, but at the same time, it gives more capacity. It opens up more opportunity for you to live in the present and the now.
Yes.
So everybody says, live in the now, live in the moment, but how? How do you do that?
Yeah.
It is the conditioning that completely doesn't explain. Nobody explains you that. And to, again, bring it back to Vipassana, one of the big things that you kind of end up doing in those 10 days, it's, for those of the audience that don't know what Vipassana is, it's a Buddhist meditation technique. You go to the way you kind of get trained in the technique, and I call this a technique. It's not a retreat. It's not a camp. It's a technique. The way you get trained in it is when you go to a center, stay there for 10 days, you're taking care of your lodging and food and, the necessities. You don't end up doing anything. You cut yourself out from all external stimulus, including human contact, including eye contact, including any kind of gesturing. But you are going inwards,
yes,
100%, to notice things that are happening within your body, with your respiration, with your sensations and things like that. There's enough material out there for, the audience to kind of look up what it is. But one of the things that experience does, and I've been fortunate enough with me and my wife, we've been carrying that experience in our day-to-day meditations, is it allows you to, again, to decipher the how piece of it. But how do I do the living in the moment? Well, use this technique, commit to it, do it every day, keep doing it, and keep doing it so that you start realizing it, that this is exactly what that how is about. Like, yes. I am taking my time to be in the moment, to be available and to be present here with nothing else but my own body and my own emotions and sensations.
Nice.
And then you scale it up.
So at what point in your life did you realize this was a thing that you wanted to do? Like, what made you say, I want to start living in the now. I want to slow things down a little bit to get a better result. Like, what happened? Was there a decision point? Was there something that happened? Sometimes things happen where things change on the other side of that.
Yeah.
What would be the genesis of this? Where did this come from?
So, great question. I would say the genesis was not that emphatic. It was a matter of me committing to whatever my wife says I'm going to do. I'm going to say yes to it.
Smart man.
And special mention, and I say this publicly to every opportunity I get. She's really great. She's a Chinese origin. She was born and raised in Japan, and she's seen stuff in her own life and in her own history. And her in 2019, her sort of explorator, and she's curious by nature for the longest time, and that's why she brought herself to Canada and then to the US, taught herself the language, and phenomenal person, right? Her thing when we were dating initially and then got married was, I want to experience a lot of things with you in this world, and spirituality is one aspect of it that I haven't done enough on my own. And so I'm kind of curious. She got inspired by talking to somebody, and she heard about Vipassana, and she signed us up for it. And I said, okay, great. Let's do it. And I knew about it, but I didn't know too many details, and I didn't find out any other details. And I just said, okay, if you say so, honey, we're going to do it. And the two of us, signed up and presented ourselves, not knowing too many things about it. And then that experience was my life-changing. We continued the practice after those 10 days for a little bit. the pandemic hit and things kind of fall off the trail for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And simultaneously started our infertility and the fight with, to start the family. Like, we were diagnosed with a few things and we were kind of treating ourselves and struggling to really accept the fact that it's actually happening to us and all of those things. As we proceeded on that journey, there came a point earlier last year, and in fact even earlier this year, where I kind of was really looking for hope and looking for strength and looking for a way in which I could make some sense out of this. Now, this, hindsight is always 2020, and people always feel that the current and the most immediate struggles are the most painful ones. I've been through some stuff in the past. I've had, emotional and, physical struggles as well. But this is kind of one of its own, where it's a factor of, how emotional you are and how desperately you want to have a family and you want to care for someone and you want to build and, create a legacy and a family again.
Yeah.
And when you're not allowed to do that, when you're not completely, it's not an impossibility. It's just that it's taking a very high amount of struggle and a very high amount of, a lot of effort to kind of have that happen. That's when you feel the most sort of defeated. It's like, I really need to make some sense out of this. And how do I not let myself be completely consumed by it? Because as a man and as a family, maybe not so much as a man or man versus woman, but as a potential father to be, and as a husband and as a son, all of those sort of, norms in the society that we've grown up with. And the fact that you're not physically going through the pain of a miscarriage, or you're not going through the pain of not being able to be pregnant physically yourself, you're kind of on the sidelines and left to kind of deal with that grief, misery, a combination of those two on your own.
Yeah.
And I just needed desperately to find a way in which I could actually be strong enough to deal with all of those things.
Yeah. Before you go, and I have a question for you, Hitesh. That is potent. That is so poignant. You're talking in a space where people don't talk about this. They don't mention it. So, you'll hear me say this on this podcast a lot, suffering in silence. And you're going through this life-changing, world-shattering event by yourself. But that you still show up in class, at work, at the gym, on the street, in your neighborhood, and in every other sphere of influence with your smile, your charisma, your shine. But I want to dive into the emotion that you're dealing with by yourself when everyone's gone and the smile's gone. It's just you looking in the mirror, or you and Nan. How do you deal with those emotions? What are you facing at that point? That's
a great question. So yes. And I think I had thought about this and written about this on some post or some interview in the past, where, it's one thing when people have actually gone through it and come onto the other side and have had the courage to open up and talk about it because they've successfully overcome that hardship.
Yes.
It's a whole another level of courage and grit and internal strength that you kind of have to harness to be able to talk about things as they are happening to you and as you're going through them. And I wish that I could hear more people do this. And I wish, like, off lately, I think I can say this, Cheddy, very comfortably, that whenever I've needed support, not with anybody's ill desire, or not with, not because of any other reasons, but just the natural composition of our society is that it's very hard to find that support. For me as a person, it was very hard to find that support for me. The last year has been we're at the cusp of Thanksgiving, and all of these great things have happened in this year. Yeah. But that last year was a bit of a reinvention and really forced me to dig deeper into myself to be the support system for myself. Unfortunately, wife, again, she's super supportive and she does a whole lot more than what I would ever expect or deserve. Same thing with my parents, same thing with siblings, friends, everybody.
Yeah.
But the thing about this type of suffering with, you hit it on its head. Men are not cultured or accustomed to speak about infertility and their, failures in that and those struggles. part of the reason is because this is such a big thing to deal with, because nobody talks about it. People don't even know how to react to it and how to be supportive about it.
Yeah.
And so I just had to kind of keep digging deeper and keep getting in keep getting more and more strength. It's not that I'm distracting myself from it. I sit with it. I sit with those problems and those thoughts quite a bit.
Yes.
When I'm not meditating and when I know that this is overwhelming, I need to be cautious about that. And I sit with those situations, those negative emotions. And slowly, when I spend enough time, I start seeing myself almost from a third party or a third person perspective.
Yep.
It's like, here I am sitting with my misery and really terribly broken down. I kid you not, like I'm strong, but a lot of times I do cry to myself sometimes.
Of course.
When things go overwhelming. And when that happens, all of it kind of comes out and it washes away. And then I'm again able to kind of look at myself from a third person perspective. And again, Vipassana comes in to help over here, is that the reason why this is happening, or the reason why I am getting overwhelmed with the situation and the circumstances, is that there are forces beyond and above me that are acting on our situation right now.
Yes.
And it would be foolish to say I'm going to fight it. Maybe it is, in a way, I'm fighting those things, but it's more of being able to take that hit, like Rocky says, right? Like if you're, I don't know exactly what he says, but the ability to take more hits than you can deliver is what really is the sign of a true champion.
Yes.
So, here I am taking all those hits and still getting up and saying, another day, another opportunity. I'm going to do my best to create value for myself, for everybody else around me, to leave a positive impact in every conversation that I'm having. Because when two people talk, when you and I talk, there was a lot of choices that were made.
Yes.
Both made a lot of choices to be here today to discuss this stuff.
Exactly.
Your family made some choices. You made some choices. And inherently, the universe, the way it works, is so value oriented and so sort of choice oriented that it automatically makes me humble and grateful that, yes, I have my backpack of issues and troubles. Yes, I have my story and my struggles, but that's inside of my backpack that I'm carrying on my back and not necessarily is visible in the front for everybody. And so I'm not going to ever fault anybody for not noticing it. And I'm going to be the one person that they would want to go back and think about as somebody that added value for me today. Like, I could connect with this person and this person actually made it better for me than it was before.
Yeah.
And that mindset, that mentality of really being the support system that I want to get from the external world has made me almost self-sufficient, A, and B, has made me more receptive and more aware about, other people that probably are not doing or aren't able to do this for themselves. I can add more value to them by being that support system for them.
If I wasn't sitting down, I'd have taken a seat, because I realized that at some point in this journey, you made a decision, a legitimately conscious decision in the way you deal with this. Because a lot of people are in this space, as I'm learning just from doing this practice, that are at a certain level where you're the go-to person, you're the giver for everyone else. But when you need something, who do you turn to? It is part of the reason why I became a coach, because I was that guy too. I understand that. And I call it suffering in silence, where you smile for everybody and then you go home in your shadows and you suffer. And maybe one person that sees it, like, Cheddy, you okay? Hitesh, you all right? Is everything okay? What's going on? But most people just see you in your shine because you shine so much. They don't realize that shine is coming from a place, and there's pain behind that as well, that you've learned to overcome so you can get through your day, that you've learned to give other people sunshine because there may be an element of your life that is so challenging and so frustrating. But I just want to highlight the fact that you made a choice to not be bitter and angry and regress and just, there's so many negative things you could have done in this space, but you chose to grab the bull by the horns, take this and take the positives out of this, make it an element of growth and give yourself a sense of peace. And I just I'm glad you're sharing this, because I want other people who are in this space wondering why are my friends not asking me what's going on? Why is my family not checking on me? Why are people that I work with not saying, hey, Ched, hey, Hitesh, hey, whoever you may be, what's going on? I can see something's going on, because they don't know. a lot of times they don't know. They don't know how to, they may not be equipped to help you in that way. They may not be aware. They may be afraid to ask the question, because if you're vulnerable, that means, what about me? Because I think you've got it together. Well, if you don't have it together, then how can I have it together? If you're dealing with life, what about me?
Yeah.
But let me just let everybody know, nobody is exempt from life. Life comes at us all. I don't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, what titles you have in your name, how many degrees you have, how much money is in your account. None of that matters when it comes to life, because we are not exempt from life. And life happens, and we all have our stuff, and I'll just call it stuff. Those things we have to deal with that are just very hard to manage on our own. Yep. And there's a lot of things that we manage all day. Got that. This tragedy happens, you got it. I guarantee, Hitesh, if there was a crisis at work, you'd be like, give me a second, I got this. Crisis averted. But then there's some areas that are just a little more challenging. There's less resources. You may not be equipped or tooled to work with them, or you were just blindsided. Like, I didn't see that coming, didn't know where it came from, didn't even know how to react to it. But here I am. But yet in that space, you're still pushing forward. That is so powerful. It is so powerful. And I mean, I want you to keep sharing if you don't mind, because this is a beautiful and powerful and brave topic. First of all, I want to thank you just for opening up in this space, because I know as a man, we don't talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
We're always, how you doing? I'm good. Dude, but you're in tears. No, I'm good. But I can tell you look like withdrawn. Nah, I'm good. We will do everything. We will lie. Yep. We'll say we're good with tears in our eyes. Yep. We'll say we're good when everyone can look at you and say, dude, you're disheveled. I can see it. But no, I'm good. How do you get up every morning? What does it take to get up every morning and shine the way you shine? Because I mean, you impact a lot of people in a positive way. You really do.
Yep. Thank you.
I don't know if anyone's told you that, but let me just say, because I can say I can give you your flowers, but you impact a lot of people just by being you. And I guarantee most people don't know the reality, the realness and the rawness that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Yet you still show up. Please share how you do that. I want to know how you do that. I just want to know.
So first off, I think when you were sharing the shine and the glow part, one analogy came to my mind. I was like, what's the shiniest, most glowing celestial body that you know of?
The sun.
The sun.
Right.
And it's shining and it's glowing and it's giving all of this life to everybody. Because how hot is it? What's the temperature on the sun at this point?
So many zeros.
There's so many zeros, right? There's a fire burning that is constantly resulting into life as we know it.
Yes.
And I intentfully, this was I think 4 years ago, before even anything happened. I mean, life is always happening, as you said. Everybody has their stuff. But at some point in 2016, I think I was always an early riser, but around 2016, I made it a conscious decision that from this point on, I will always wake up before the sun rises.
Nice.
I will always start my day with intent, with a commitment to something, to myself that's personal, and I'll start my day before the sun rises. And it also happened that I was actually back from a trip to India and I was jet lagged, and so I had nothing to do. And so I said, you know what, this is perfect. I am up at 2 a.m. I'm gonna keep getting up. Not at 2 a.m. Obviously, I'm a human, not a ghost, but I'm going to keep getting up before the sun rises on every single, as many days as possible, keeping it consistent. So
wow,
I took on, so gym membership was always there. I started going early in the morning. Prior to that, I was going after work in the evenings, and I started to flip it around. And first thing I do is I get up, I get my, hot water and a couple of other things that I take with to get going in the morning, and then I head to the gym straight up. And some of it is actually determination oriented, and I made consistency as something that I really want to live by in everything that I do. I'm a Virgo. A lot of audience, that are Virgo will relate to this, is that we like things organized, we like things consistent. Planning, consistency, organization, all of those things are kind of our thing. And so I aim for those two things. It's like, I'm going to get up before the sun's up, and I'm going to be consistent about getting to the gym and working out. And I think I shared this with the cohort in like a 6 bullet point sort of notion when we began our coursework is just deciding to do something early in the morning and then seeing it through, like following through with it, adds so much more confidence in everything that you do beyond that point and after that point. And so I also had, as I was on that journey and as I was, and since 2016, basically I'm doing that. I've been on this, early to bed, early in the morning, rising up, 1 hour of meditation as soon as I wake up, and then hit the gym after, and then come back. And by 7:30, I'm ready to take my day on. 7:30, 8 o'clock approximately. I'm ready to be here and now with professional commitments, with any kind of work related items. And I realized that I was doing this very similar to my maternal grandfather. He was the only grandparent that I actually had time to, or grandfather that my dad's side had passed away before I was born, or just around when I was born. But my maternal grandfather was very similar to this habit behavior and pattern. He would get up before everybody else. When we were in our village, he would actually get up and go swim in the cold river water and come back and then go about his day and really, really be sort of intentful about his day and about his habits. That it was just growing up and seeing him behave kind of maybe caught on to me, and I aspire to a certain extent to be, similar to him, or at least have a little bit of his grit and his sort of determination in my life. And so getting me out of bed, that's my one sort of anchor point, is like, today I'm going to be doing these things at the gym. Today I'm going to be working on these muscles or this type of exercise or that. And I'm not a big, you've seen me, I'm by no means a massively fit and shaped kind of guy, but I'm strong. I will move mountains for my family. And I will literally go out there and move a mountain if I have to.
Yes.
That strength, that sort of grit, that comes in from the resolve and the consistency. Is like, I decided to do this and I did this. The days I don't get to it, I make a note to myself. I have a little 5-minute journal I write down in it. Today, I couldn't do this. I'm going to get back up and try to do it tomorrow. Don't kill yourself over it. But the power of commitment and the power of consistency, if you can harness that is like this constant, fire burning within that will keep you going, that will provide the fuel you need to say yes and then figure shit out later behind you or after that.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be that impetus that you really seek. I look around many friends of mine and many people, and I see that there is a lot of aimless sort of wobbling and wandering around. To be intentful, to be really, really deterministic, I think there are small step changes that you have to put in your life, that you have to install almost.
Yes.
So that when you kind of take a sum of all of that together, you have enough confidence to take on whatever bigger challenges that are thrown at you.
Yes, I totally agree. I think that is, wow, that is probably like a whole section of a book. Like really just talking about grit and intentionality, and just the fact that consistency leads to strength. I mean, please, oh my gosh, we could have a whole topic on that. Just so you know, Michelle and I might steal that one day, and you might be an episode like, wait, we talked about that. Because that right there is gold. So if you hear that again, I'm just letting you know right now that we might take that.
Absolutely.
That is what I call audible gold, Hitesh. That is audible gold. Consistency, and people don't think about it, but getting up in the morning is great. And I'll tell you, I had a morning routine just like you do, because I'm a guy that believes you got to start your day with a win, a smile, and a spark. The win is just dopamine. It's something that, yes, I did that. Boom. It's just starts your day with a win. You just proceeds to win. You already started off on a positive note. The smile is so many hormones, so many good hormones come from just smiling. So I love the smiling aspect, because it starts your day. It helps you to see things in a certain way. I love the serotonin I get from that. It's just something that, wow, today's going to be a good day intentionally. And the spark or the smile, or the, what I call the spark is something that's inspirational or motivational, something that keeps you going and just makes you push through the things that are hard. You have just started your day in a way that just is a recipe for winning. And that's what you do. And you do it consistently. And I can tell you from a macro sense how it feels when I do that. And I can tell you what it feels like when I fall off the wagon and I don't do it.
Yeah.
I used to get up at 4 every morning. Then I moved and life happened and I got off my routine and didn't get up at the same time. And it changed everything. Health-wise, it changed. Energy levels changed. I felt my creativity faded. And I'm like, no, you need to, that is the thing. In your mind, you're like, what changed? Dude, I'll tell you what changed. You changed. You changed your routine and you weren't priming your day the way you were before. Yep. And the preparation for your day wasn't done. Therefore, your day was not as effective, as intentional. Words that you used. You didn't have the grit. Because believe it or not, that morning routine is an exercise in grit. It's an exercise in intentionality. It's an exercise in consistency. And it results in strength. And heck, I'll tell you, I've seen your social media. I've seen the gains. So you can talk what you want to talk. I saw because
thank you.
I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, snap. I had to look at the dates and be like, oh my gosh. And what you notice, it's like an, I don't want to say this, but it's like a curve where it starts out slow gains and all of a sudden you changed. And I was like, holy smokes, your overnight, but I realized your overnight success in this area was not overnight. No, it was consistently micro changes over and over and over again. But isn't 100%. That, oh my gosh, but isn't that like an analogy for life?
Yep, exactly. So to that workout bit, right? My determination or my goal is not to be better than anybody else. My determination is I want to be stronger today than I was yesterday.
That's the win.
And I started it, like I said, around 2016 timeframe with that intentionality. I literally was stronger on my 36th birthday when I took my shots and when I measured what I was lifting than I was on my 35th birthday. Same thing. 37th was stronger than 36. 38 was strong. And it is defying all, physics and biology principles. But yet here I am doing it. And there's no other better proof than just you yourself doing it and experiencing it, right?
Exactly.
You do it, you experience it, you take that lesson, you move further. You do it, you experience it, rinse and repeat. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. It's a like workout, and I posted on Instagram, not so much for I do appreciate when people notice it and like it, of course, but
of course,
really, you will find this maybe, I don't know what to make out of this, but there are times when I was super low and I really don't know, if something has happened at work or something has happened in personal life and we've just gotten some bad news or whatever.
Yeah.
There have been times when I've actually looked at my own Instagram and scrolled through and I was like, dude, I am doing it. I have that ability to determine something and go after it. And I'm able to actually do it. I am proud of myself. I just need that one reminder once in a while when that, the friendly tap on your shoulder when somebody else comes in and says, dude, you're killing it. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
If you don't get that's fine. Give it to yourself, because guess what? You owe it to yourself. And without that, your push, your impetus, if that's sort of missing that just one nudge, be the nudge that you need from somebody else yourself. Like just do it for yourself and you will see it still impacts. It still creates that same momentum. And it still gives you, the extra sort of push to keep going.
I love that. It's so funny. I just pulled out my backup microphone. I'm going to drop it because that is a definite mic drop. You just got a mic drop on that one. Like, we are done here, ladies and gentlemen, because you just murdered this. You killed it. I loved listening to you talk because, like I said, you have a certain magic, and I really wanted to share that with people. I wanted you to be able to, and I know you don't like talking about yourself and whatnot. I know this. I get that. But I'm glad you took the time to just share with me so we can share with others just some of the hacks, the tricks, the methodologies you've used to keep going when you're dealing with life. And life has taken the gloves off. But here you are, bobbing and weaving, getting in there every round to deal with life. And not only that, take the time to deposit good vibes into other people, professionally at work, socially, personally, academically, that people like me benefit from. Thank you so much. But in so many aspects of your life, so many of the facets, you shine so brightly. The people would really believe that everything you've got, everything is going all fine. You are firing on all cylinders. Nothing is wrong, because that's what we like to believe about others. We think we're the only ones that have problems and issues in life, right? But you're dealing with life just like we are. Yet here you are showing up again and again and again. And you use that grit. I mean, you personify grit, intentionality, consistency, strength. And you do it with a smile and a certain level of compassion that is really beautiful. Strength comes in many different ways, and you exhibit power in a way that is acceptable. is approachable, is not intimidating, but yet is awe-inspiring. And it is something that I am learning from. And I appreciate knowing you. I appreciate the fact that I'm in the same cohort learning from you and with you, because I'm going to be a better person from hearing this podcast. I'm going to be a better person from knowing you. And hopefully, audience, you'll be better just from hearing some of the tips and the advice. Sending out good vibes and love and prayers to you and Nan, your beautiful bride, and may everything work out for you in your future. But if there's anything else you want to let the people know, please, I'm going to give you the final words. And if there's any way you want them to reach you, leave that information as well. And I'll put it in the chat as well, so they'll have it as well.
For sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Couldn't agree more with everything you said about learning and sharing. I am a story in the making, just like everybody else is. No matter what anybody tells you, always remember that every person walking on this planet is a story in the making. And as I started off early on with my conversations, we're all products of our experiences. Experiences don't stop. We don't stop evolving. We don't stop. Experiences keep happening. We keep evolving. We keep becoming new people and keep becoming, better people, hopefully, if the experiences are taken in the right way. Last 3 pointers that I would say is awareness is the genesis of everything. Cultivate as much intentional efforts in your life, be it habits, be it routines, be it meditation, be it, mindfulness practice, be it whatever it is, go run by the river, etc. The more aware you start becoming of yourself, of your surroundings, the more suitable and capable you become for everything else that follows through. Make awareness a consistent effort. Make consistency a part of your conscious and awareness routine. The more consistent you are in your life, the more reliable you become, the more trustworthy you become, the more, respect you get from your friends, family, and your people that wish you well. And lastly, just be grateful. Be grateful for everything that you've seen in life so far. Be grateful for every breath you've taken, that you are taking right now, because, and it ties very well into the awareness concept, is that you're not here by a chance. You're here because of some intentionalities. You're here for a role. You're here for a specific purpose. Find your foundational purpose and harness it and use it to make a more meaningful and more rich life. Be grateful for everybody that's around you. Be grateful for every opportunity you get. Be grateful for every adversity and every hardship you've seen in life. Because had it not been for those things, your story would have been different. Not good, not bad, not better, just different. This is your story.
Yeah.
Own up to it. Be grateful for it. And, it's Thanksgiving upon our on the weekend, and take that opportunity to really make a list of everything that you want to be grateful for, and then, act upon it. Say thanks for everybody that's been a part of your life and that will be a part of your life.
Gosh, I love that. Wow. That was all kinds of beautiful. That was a cup of awesome. And thank you for giving me a cup, because I'm going to sip on that all day. I appreciate the good vibes you just shared with us. Hitesh Solanki, you are a phenom and a beautiful human being. And I am so grateful to know you. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you're looking for any advice in the space, reach out to me and I'll reach out to Hitesh, because this is the guy you want giving you advice on your team, helping you out with your business solutions. This guy has a mind that is like no other. And I'll be reaching out to you, sir, to get some information so I can better myself. But take some of the advice he said. Like, I'm telling you, those 3 tips are phenomenal. Awareness, consistency, and gratitude. That is golden. I love that. And that will be posted. So hopefully someone can learn something from that. But thank you so much for today. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe, follow, share, and most importantly, use whatever adds value to your amazing life. Remember, even if life puts barriers in our way, we are still moving forward. Sign in again for a new episode of Winning Inside.
Thank you for listening to Winning Inside with Cheddy Matthews and Michelle Wickman. If you enjoyed today's show, please make sure to click the follow button, rate and review at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, or wherever you get your podcast. You can connect with Cheddy and Michelle at winninginside.io. Keep listening. Another episode is coming soon.